Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 4307 of Lupus, and I'm sure you can guess where I am. So, the update since the last video is that I've been confirmed to have compression fractures in my lumbar spine from my steroids, which my endocrinologist says in combination with the bone density test coming back showing osteopenia that I officially have osteoporosis in my lumbar spine. Love that for me. I've also been having a lot of left hip pain, and it's kind of difficult to walk sometimes when it's really bad, and I have no clue what the cause of that may be. I had a fall on the 27th of July. I went to go walk my dog, and my legs just said, nope, we're not doing this, and I went down. It was like this weakness behind the back of my knee that, I don't know, I just couldn't control. I was trying to keep myself up, and my body was just like, no, we're going down. So this has all been fun, little adventure that I've got going on when it comes to, my back and downward. But I've also had on and off chest pains for a few months now. Back in April, I went to the emergency room for that pain in my left side. I'm pretty sure I made a video about it. And at that time, they told me I had a lipoma in my heart. So at my follow-up for that, I told the cardiologist that, yeah, I've been having this chest pain. So she said, let's repeat an echo. Let's repeat a CT angio, which is a CT specifically to check like the dilation of blood vessels in your heart and things like that. The other day I was here at the hospital to do that repeat CT angio, and after they completed the test, the lady was wheeling me back to the lobby, and they stopped. And I joked, and I was like, what am I, dying or something? And the guy goes, well, we see something on your scan, but we need to contact your doctor for next steps. And I was like, oh, okay, the lipoma, I already know about that. And he's like, well, the reason we gave you extra contrast is because, with repeating the scan, we can kind of determine the density of the object that is there, and with knowing the density, we can determine if it's a lipoma or a blood clot or whatever, and it doesn't really look like a lipoma. And I was like, oh, lovely. So I went, they brought me to the lobby, and they were like, do not leave the hospital. So I sat in the lobby for about 2 hours, and the report showed up on the patient portal, and I read that, and it said that I had a large blood clot in my right atrium, which is where I was originally told the lipoma was. And it said that there's no evidence that there's a lipoma here. It just looks like a large clot. We can't get a hold of the doctor. We're going to be sending the patient to the emergency room. So I read all of that even before someone came out of the back and spoke to me. They were like, yeah, you need to go to the emergency room. We can't get a hold of your doctor, and it looks like there's a clot, a very large clot. So yeah, you need to go. I spent how many hours in the ER? Maybe 30 hours in the ER in total before I was brought up to the room that I am currently in. The ER, I hate the ER in general, but the hospital that I'm at. I really hate this ER. Um, it's just it's just no bueno. I missed all of my regular medications that first day because, of course, I didn't bring anything with me because I didn't expect to be admitted to the hospital. I thought I was just coming for a scan. So I missed all of my first day meds, which means I didn't get my sleeping pill, and that means I didn't sleep. So I was just awake for over 24 hours. Eventually, I crashed, and I was really out of it. But yeah, they brought me to the floor I'm at now. Lovely people on this floor. They are so nice, but I'm being moved. Um, I'm on a neuro unit right now, but I'm being moved to a cardiac unit, which makes more sense for my case. I have nothing well, I could have something neurologically wrong with, like, from the waist down, because we're still trying to figure that out. But that's more like a back burner thing compared to my heart, being the primary issue right now. I've been on a heparin drip this entire time. For those who don't know, heparin is a very intense blood thinner. It doesn't necessarily break up the clot, but it prevents it from getting any bigger. They're trying to see if the heparin is going to allow my body time to dissolve the clot on its own while it's preventing it from getting any bigger. But they made me do a scan, an internal ultrasound called a TEE, transesophageal endoscopy, I believe it's called, where they put me under and they stick a probe down your throat to do an ultrasound of your heart from the inside. The stuff they sprayed in the back of my throat was horrible, and it burned for hours after, I woke up and everything. But anyways, that test gave a better picture of the clot in my heart, and it, from reading the report, looks like nothing's changed. The heparin hasn't done anything at all to make the situation better. So the plan right now is that I need to see an interventional cardiologist to determine next steps. From what the one doctor was telling me when he read the cardiology note, it looks like they want to do like an interventional, like super invasive thing where they bring me to the cath lab and stick a tube into the blood vessels to try to vacuum the clot out. But it's so large that they are concerned that it would break into like a million different pieces, and that could, go into my lungs and cause a pulmonary embolism, and then, the lungs start to die, and then it's like this whole thing. But if they can't leave it, but they don't really want to do open heart surgery, which from what I was reading on Google, is essentially going to be the most effective if your clot is that large, because it gets it all out in one chunk, but then you got the side effects of having open heart surgery. And I don't even really want to know what all of those are, but I know it would definitely be a long-term struggle. My neighbors are watching my dog. I kind of have to harass them a little bit to be like, hey, did you check on him today, sort of thing. And I feel bad that I have to do that, but I also don't want him to be neglected while I'm in here, because I didn't choose to be here, so I didn't have anything prepared ahead of time. And they've been helping me out. They're great, they're lovely, but it's really not their responsibility. So I have anxiety about that. Being in here, my back has been just really hurting, so I'm trying to deal with that, trying to get effective pain management from them. But, you go into a hospital and you tell somebody, hey, only fentanyl and Dilaudid and Vicodin work for me. They're going to look at you crazy because they're like, no. But I've been with pain management for so many years that I know what works. And that just happens to be it. That's the facts. But so many doctors are hesitant. They're just like, oh, I don't want to give you all these strong meds. Let's start with something lower. But I'm like, that doesn't work for me. And I know that for a fact because I've been doing this for years. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. Just waiting to be moved to the cardiac unit. I'm on a heart monitor, hanging out in my room. Again, the nurses on this floor and the techs have been fantastic. I hope the people on the other floor are just as fantastic. But, I'll try to keep the world updated on what's going on, what the plan is for removing this clot, because she's a whopper and she doesn't seem like she's going anywhere. All right, guys. Talk to you later.